Young rounding out the top 7 ahead of India's Yash Aradia and Thailand's Tar in the blue number 77. And of course, we are joined as well by our leading lady, Sneha Sharma, in the purple number 9. We're about to get underway, but right now the drivers are all out on track warming up their cars for their sighting lap. In a moment they'll take their position on grid, and then that's not the start of the race. In fact, there's one more lap after that, the formation lap. One last time to get everything ready to go, to prepare yourself mentally and physically before the start of the race. Then they'll come back into position in the same positions. You'll see a marshal waving a yellow flag on the back of the grid on the left-hand side. When he turns to green, you'll know that everyone's in position, and that's the cue for the red lights to go on. As they extinguish, we will be underway. And you can see here a red car diving past up the inside. That's a little bit strange, unless somebody is trying to regain position. Could be Josh Smith trying to get into 5th place. Perhaps he had a problem at some point that we missed. Not to worry though, I'm sure the marshals and the race director will make sure that everything's done okay, and as long as everyone's in position before the start of the race, they will be allowed to start from there. Unfortunately, if you don't get into if you have an issue and you don't get back into position before, I believe it's corner 12, you have to start from the back of the track. Not to worry though, because that's not an issue at the moment, as everyone seems to be joining in position without any problems. Once again, that's Luke Allen at the front of the grid. A little bit hard to distinguish his car because he's got an orange engine cover at the moment. Not to worry though, he's still in the same blue number 3, his favorite car this year. It's done well for him. He's had a little bit of an unlucky weekend. Started off well, but then things went wrong for him in the second race, and could have gone better in the third, but not to worry, because he's back on pole now for the final race of the weekend, and I'm sure this is going to give him another race win. And if he does that, he may just have the event championship once again. But as it stands, Shihab Al-Habsi and Josh Smith are right up there with him, all 3 drivers having 1 race win. And perhaps, in fact, we might see Elias Sapanin up at the top step in this race. Elias starting from 4th position, but we know he's blisteringly quick. And he's got his head in gear, and he knows exactly what he needs to do, and he knows exactly how he's going to do it. So this may be the race, the final race of the weekend. Final race in Thailand this year, where Elias Sapanin does Finland proud and steps atop the top step of not just the rookie podium, but the overall podium as well. But first he'll have to get past Muiz Mushafir in the orange number 13 just in front of him. And that's not going to be easy, because Muiz has now 4 events at this Buriram United International Circuit under his belt. But before all of that, and before any more of the beautiful action from this weekend, let's have a run through the starting grid once again. We've got Luke Allen in first, just ahead of Shihab Al-Habsi and Muiz Mushafir, while Elias Sapanin and Josh Smith round out the top 5, ahead of Ali Akabi, Alistair Young, Yash Aradia, Tar and Sneha. Beautiful driving from everyone so far this weekend. Some fantastic action in the first 3 races. A particular favourite was Josh Smith overtaking Elias Sapanin through this section of corners 9, 10 and 11. I've been saying all week in last event I wasn't sure it was possible in these cars, or in any car, matter of fact, but I'm sure Josh must have heard me and said, well, I'll prove him wrong, because he did exactly that and wowed the entire crowd here in the Buriram United International Circuit in these cars fueled by Petron, as we come down through turn 12 now on the end of the formation lap. Everybody's controlled at the moment by the speed of the leader. That's Luke Allen. He has the say until the start of the race and the red lights go out, and then it's every man for himself, and every woman as well, matter of fact. We come around now. You can see Luca there warming up his tires, making absolute maximum effort to be to gain every advantage possible before the start of this race, as he does every race. A very professional young man we have here in our championship, like many of our other drivers, and like many of the drivers that the team behind Formula 4 have worked with before. Fantastic to see them following in the steps of their predecessors, and hopefully we'll see them move up very soon. But at the moment, there's only one thing on everyone's mind, and that's the start of this race. You can see the green flag on your left being waved. The red lights are going to come on, and as they go out, we are underway. Everyone looks to be away good, except for maybe Sneha Sharma at the back. She had a problem in the last race. She may have the same problem again now, but everyone else has gone away down into turn 1. Fantastic, everyone's going great. Sneha manages to get off the line, may have just stalled it, not a problem there though. She can rejoin and keep going. Luke Allen holding on to his position through turn 2. That's that little rumble strip there, that's all that makes up the corner. It's a fantastic long straight down into the beautiful turn 3 here. Similar in some respects to turn 15 at Thailand International Circuit. In fact, cambered in much the same way, but going the opposite direction. But no, this is terrible news. Looks to me that Yash Aradia. Oh no, that's Muiz Mushafir. Oh, that's terrible news for Muiz. From 3rd position, he had some contact there at turn 3. And he's taken out, maybe with Ali Akabi. Couldn't quite make out who the red car was. But it's terrible news for Malaysia. In any case, back to the front of the grid where we see Josh Smith now up the inside at turn 5. Elias Sapanen not happy about that, going to try and take him back. No space for him to do so at the moment. Might have a look up the inside of turn 9. Trying to take some revenge for that maneuver that Josh pulled over in the last time around. Yes, it was indeed Ali Akabi. He seems to have some significant damage to his car. Front left plane is damaged. Rear wing is hanging on by a thread. Here's a quick replay of what happened. Looks like Ali just came wide, touched into the orange car there of Muiz Mushafa, who spun around. Some collision again with another orange car, that must be number 17, Yasha Radia. Driving his car off track there, trying to get out of the way of everybody else. They're under the safety car already to make sure everything is safe as possible. Nobody gets hurt while the marshals recover his car, that's Ali's car, to make sure everything is done as per the FIA regulations of the championship. Just very strict, overseeing everything. The local town stewards and the FIA, which is the World Boxing Association of Thailand. Make sure that all these young drivers are safe and ready to race again as soon as possible. As we can see the safety car there picking up the entire field. You can see quickly down the standings as they are. Luke Allen in 1st position, Shiab Al-Habsi in 2nd, Josh Smith rounding out the top 3, Elias Sapan in 4th, then Al Young in the top 5, Yash just behind him with Tar and Sneha rounding off the end of the grid, and Muiz Mushafa just came into the pit lane, obviously trying to minimize any damage to his car and get the mechanics working on it right away, so it's good to go. He may be able to rejoin. I'm not sure of the procedure. If he's lapped under safety car, does that count as a lap against him, or will he be allowed to continue? I mean, the clock is still counting down on the session time, so I assume that means that if Muiz rejoins, he will be 1 lap behind. You can see the mechanics working on him here. That's the jumper battery going into the back of the car, which would indicate Muiz intends to rejoin the race. You can see Charlie Mohammed there, team manager, chief mechanic as well, making sure everything's okay when Muiz having a word. Message up on the board, safety car coming in this lap, so that means that we'll be racing again very soon. Looks like we had a quick tire change. Perhaps something was flat spotted. And away Muiz goes, rejoining. He's going to be at the back of the field, of course, but is he going to be lapped down, or is he going to be able to try and catch up position? We'll find out very soon with what happens on the timing screen. In any case, the safety car will be coming in this lap. Whereas everybody else, we're going around turn 7 at the moment. Safety car leading us through turn 8 now. There you are, back on screen. Coming around in the 3rd sector of the circuit. All the drivers are controlled at the moment by the safety car, but when the safety car lights go out, presumably at turn 9, then it will be Luke Allen in control of the pack, and he'll decide the speed limit until they cross the start-finish line. You can return to full velocity at turn 12 if I'm understanding the regulations correctly, and as you cross the start-finish line, it's back to racing. But everything is determined by Luke Allen. He gets to say when he puts his foot down, and he's slowing everybody up. You can see that. It's a game of cat and mouse now with Luke Allen, Shihab Al-Habsi and Josh Smith. That's the 2 red cars behind Luca. Of course, Elias Sapanen, we've seen him have some fantastic restarts. And Alice Young is an experienced hand at these kind of scenarios in the pink car, number 22, just behind the pack of red and orange. So we'll see what happens very soon. There's the safety car coming into the pit lane now. You can hear it already, ladies and gentlemen. Lucas put his foot down. He's going for it. They're coming through turn 12. Just a second on the right-hand side of your screens. Now this beautiful drone shot, which I'm loving very much, but we're just clipping the corner there. Everyone seems to go down. Great restart from Luca, crossing the line nicely with Shihab Al-Habsi in second and Josh Smith in third. Looks like Elias had a fantastic restart because he's right up behind the man in front of him, Josh Smith. He's going to have to try and find his way back to the front of the grid as soon as possible. We love seeing Elias up on top of this top set because he gives us a fantastic performance every time he goes out. But now the men to look at are in turn 3. That's the blue car, number 3 in the lead, from Shihab Al-Habsi in second position. We saw this in race 1 when Shihab and Luca battled from start to finish. Hopefully we'll repeat that action while we're watching the action unfold on the track. Though there's a lot of people working hard behind the scenes, and we can see here the incident at turn 3 is under investigation. I'm sure the steward's trying to decide what happened, if it was a racing incident, and if any penalties are deserved. But don't worry about that, ladies and gentlemen, at the moment, because there's so much action going on screen. We've got Shihab Al-Habsi setting the fastest first sector, then the fastest second sector before Elias Sapanin beats him to the punch, or rather just after, sets the fastest second sector by 0.2 of a second. Everybody's so competitive this weekend, as we noted before. The top 5 drivers are separated by, the top 6 drivers even are separated by a tenth or 0.2 of a second as we come around turn 9 and 10. Now Elias really up behind Josh Smith. He's not going to be happy with what happened between him and Josh last time around, last race I should say, and he's going to try and pay back the Australian driver as soon as possible. Let's see what happens as we cross the start finish line, as Yash Aradia tries to make a move up the inside of turn 12. And Alistair Young, may have been a bit of contact there. Yes, there was indeed. You can see the left front plane of Yash Aradia is now bent up. That's going to hurt him dearly, especially in these high-speed corners there, like turn 1. You can see already he turned in quite tight into turn 1, perhaps losing it just a little bit. Interesting to note, though, Luke Allen setting the fastest third sector, and Shihab Al-Habsi setting the fastest lap overall. The top 2 drivers doing a 1:44.6, separated by 0.04 of a second only as we come through turn 3 now. You can see Yash Aradia there coming around with Alistair Young in P2. Down the back straight into turn 4. Great driving for everybody so far, and hopefully it's going to continue to the end of the race, with Shihab Al-Habsi trying to find his way up into first position, while Yash Aradia is refusing to give up, even with a wing only just barely hanging on to that car. As we come around now, turn 5 with Elias Sapanin and Josh Smith. That's Finland and Australia battling for third position, with Josh in third at the moment. Coming around now with Luke Allen still leading the pack, but you can see how close Shihab Al-Habsi is. You can see Josh on the pressure there from Elias, going a little bit wide, coming outside of turn 8. This is fantastic racing, folks. Exactly what we want to see is what we've seen all weekend. A battle going on for first, a battle going on for third, and further down the order there's a battle going on for fifth as well, with Alistair Young and Yash Aradia. Yash performing beautifully this race, really coming into his own, down into the 155s, going a little bit faster, about 0.2 faster in fact than Alistair Young, who performed spectacularly in the last race as well. So coming across the start finish straight, let's see what happens. Shihab Al-Habsi fastest again in the first sector. Nobody else breaking any records in the other sectors, but Shihab uses that advantage he gained in the first sector, going 0.2 faster than anybody else, the only man into the 25-second mark to earn the fastest lap of the race so far, beating out Luke Allen by it's about 1/10 or 8/800 of a second. Coming down into turn 3, the gap is going to be under 0.4 of a second between the blue and the red car at the front and the back. Can Shihab make a move? Perhaps he decides against it. We saw in the first race Shihab tried around the outside of turn 3 about 5 different times, and about 5 different times Luca pushed him off onto the outside of the exit of the corner onto the grass. That's definitely been a learning experience for Shihab, because he's going to tuck in behind Luca now. This corner, I think he loves this corner. You can see it in him, in his driving style. He just tucks in behind them so nicely, sets himself up for turn 5, fakes to the outside. Now he's going to cut back up and try and set himself up for a beautiful overtake up the inside of turn 6. There we go, up the inside of turn 6. He takes it very nicely from Luke Allen and says thank you very much. But Luke Allen not giving up. Some contact there. Luca pushes him off wide. Definitely contact between the blue and the red car. Shihab goes off wide on the exit of turn 8. There we go again. Yes, that's unfortunate. Josh Smith following suit, a little bit slippery on the exit there. Perhaps some bad rubber at that location, as Luke Allen managing to force his way back into first position after a beautiful maneuver from Shihab Al-Habsi. The car's now coming past turn 11 down into turn 12. Will Al-Habsi from Oman try another move on Ireland's Allen? Not quite. And Elias Pannon is just a little bit too far down the order to make a move on Josh Smith. About 4 tenths of a second, maybe 5 tenths of a second as they cross the start-finish line. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, indeed, 4.3 tenths of a second behind, just a little bit too far back to make a move. He's got to catch up just a little bit, and he's doing that because he's set the fastest second sector of the race so far, 1/10 faster than the next man, who is, interestingly enough, Josh Smith. Coming down the second straight of the corner, you can see Luke Allen once again at the front of the grid. Best lap time of 1:44.563. All these guys into the 1:44s now. The top 4 cars all separated by 2 tenths of a second. 2 tenths of a second between the top 4 cars. And Maurice Mushafa, what's he doing? Down in the 1:45s, 3:99. That's obviously because of what happened at the beginning of the race. He must be suffering. We saw him come into the pit lane and try to do something about it, but it's just hard to get your mind back into the right frame of space after something like that goes wrong in your weekend. Is very disappointing, but nonetheless, let's have a look back at the front of the grid where Shihab Al-Habsi on screen now in the red number 34 car is challenging for first position. Will he be able to make anything stick on Luke Allen? He's gotten past once already, only to have only to have the position stolen from him by Luke Allen, who pushed him very, very wide. I think there was some contact between Luca's left tires and Shihab's right side pod to push him off track, but coming around turn 9 now, no one close enough to make a move as Josh Smith has done so before, but Elias Pannon is hanging in there, looking for a way to find to push himself past Josh Smith. He's lapping very consecutively, doing a 1:44.689 last time around, on par to do the same kind of thing. But sector 2 is 1/10 faster for Josh Smith this time around. Can Smith answer Elias? Not quite, but only just not quite. It's the 1:44.567 for Smith and the 1:44.503 for Elias. So Elias is getting himself in there as Yash Adia, with only half a wing, goes up the inside of Alistair Young. That's the orange car, number 17, overtaking Alistair Young in the pink there at turn 1. Beautiful driving there, especially hard to do when you don't have a full wing under your under your car, at the front of your car, I should say. Unfortunately, though, number 17 is going to suffer a 20-second penalty after the finished result, as I can see on my screens now. As we come down the straight into turn 4, you can see Elias Pannon right up behind Josh Smith. The gap at the start of the lap was 0.3 of a second. That's exactly where you want to be if you need to make a move. Elias perhaps too far back to make anything happen at turn 4. It's too fast of a corner to make a move. You need some braking there, and you can see that's exactly what Elias Yashardia just did on Alistair Young. Alistair backed off just a hint, and Yash said thank you very much, went up the inside, pushed Alistair Young wide coming out of the exit. As Josh now defending heavily from Elias Pannon, you can see his lap times are starting to suffer, as Luke Allen at the front of the grid is doing a 1:44.339 and Josh Smith is doing a 1:44.567. I know 0.2 of a second isn't much to complain about, but we've seen this weekend the top 5 cars are only separated by 0.2 of a second, so you can see how hard Josh Smith is having to fight to keep Elias Pannon behind him, and that's just a testament to how good a driver young Elias Pannon is, especially considering that Josh has a season of F4 Australia under his belt. But still a lot of more racing to go in this championship. 24 more races to go this year for Formula 4 Southeast Asia. It's a huge championship, 10 events, 40 races. If I'm not mistaken, it's the biggest F4 championship in the world. Fantastic racing every time we come out, and beautiful like locations like Thailand and Malaysia that we love to visit, and hopefully you'll come and see us soon, because this action is not going to stop. Elias Pannon going around and doing another 1:44.852. That's 1/100th of a second faster than the man in front of him, Josh Smith. The gap 3.6 of a second last lap, 3.5 of a second now, as Elias Pannon crosses himself back into turn 3, maybe hesitates slightly and goes back to the outside line. That may have scrubbed a bit of speed, but he doesn't seem to have suffered that much because he got a fantastic exit. He's already alongside Josh Smith, and this is exactly where he needs to be to go around presumably the outside at turn 4 and take the Australian and take third position from him as well. Very nice driving from Elias if he manages to pull it off, but Josh seems to have closed the door on the man in 4th position at the moment, the red number 58 car on screen at the moment. We saw that was a fantastic move coming out of turn 3, but I'm not sure how Josh managed to hold him off there, but Elias Pannon's not going to give up. He's going to fight himself He's going to fight Josh, I should say, until the end of the race, and he's going to find a way up into third position, maybe even challenge for second. But with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left on the board, there's not a lot of time for anyone to make anything happen. We've got maybe 3 laps left, so these drivers, anybody wants to make something happen, they've got to make it happen now. Luke Allen, if he gets this race win, that means he's probably going to win the event championship, probably, but he did have that one DNF, so that might upset things. We can see Elias Sapanen so close now, though, behind the number 5 car in front of him. That's the red car, Josh Smith, just ahead of this red car, number 58 of Elias Sapanen. Coming down the back straight, the gap is, let's see, 3/10 of a second, 3.3 of a second still. Elias Sapanen coming around, excellent line there through turn 1. He's going to have to try and outbrake him into turn 3 again, maybe take the off-camber line and see what he can do about it, or maybe repeat the same procedure from last lap, because that very nearly worked. But interestingly enough to note, Luke Allen, even though he's in first position with a reasonably comfortable lead, he's still pushing, set the fastest the fastest first sector last lap. The second sector last lap. But Shihab Al-Habsi closing in, setting the best lap, a 1:44.223, 1/10 of a second faster. So with the 6/10 gap, he's closing in, but is not closing in fast enough, considering there's only 3 laps left. That's only a 10th a lap. That means he's going to be 3/10 of a second behind him. Well, excuse me, I'm wrong, really. 3/10 of a second, that's exactly where you want to be if you want to make the move. But this Buriram United International Circuit is a very complicated beast, and you really have to be right up behind the man in front of you to make anything happen. All these young drivers, I'm sure, know that already. Shihab Al-Habsi especially, because he was already up into first position once this race, and he's going to be fighting hard to get back up. If he takes this first position, that guarantees him the event championship. Really, he already has 1 race win. If he gets another, that's all he needs. But finishing in second, I don't know, it might be a close call. Josh Smith may have just enough points with some consecutive seconds and 1 race win to beat the Omani driver. So it's a battle now between Ireland, Australia, Oman and Finland. Fantastic racing as Malaysia rounds out the top 5 with Al Young, lapping consistently. The 146 is at the moment a little bit too far to make anything happen. Unfortunately as well, getting a 10-second penalty for a track limit excursion, as Luca leads us into turn 3 now, blocking Shihab on the outside. You can see there Shihab really trying every which way to get his car past the man in front of him, but not finding one yet. Or I'm sorry, he found one, but he lost it as well, unfortunately. But you can see how close the Omani driver is to the blue car in front of him. He's going to dive out the outside. He's going to switch back. Yep, we've seen him do that before. Beautiful driving. He's up so close. Now he's going to go up the inside. He's going to brake earlier and go around the outside and then dive back in. But he loses it. Oh no. Terrible news for number 34 in the red. That's Shihab Al-Habsi. He's in a very dangerous position there. We're going to have to get the yellow flags out immediately to make sure nobody comes into contact with him, because he's right on the racing line there on the exit of turn 5. Hopefully everything will be okay, because the marshals already, as I see, have the yellow flags out, and now they've been removed. Presumably that's because Shihab gets underway. Yes, indeed. Here we go. Shihab, that's just, your heart has to break for him. He's driven beautifully all race. Found his way up into first position, only to lose it again under defense from Allen, and just, he was so close. He had the faster line. He set himself up so well. He'd been practicing that maneuver all weekend, and I don't know what happened. There must have been a little bit of dirt or dust on the track, and Shihab just caught it at the wrong angle, and the back end kicked out, and that was the end of the race for him, really, with effectively Josh Smith up into second position. So that would mean, if I'm not mistaken, Josh has 3 second places and a race win, which should be enough to give him the event championship as he comes around on this, the last lap of the race, while Luke Allen seems to lap Sneha Sharma in the purple number 9. Sneha suffering at the beginning of the race. A very slow start, presumably linked to the issue she had in the last session, while Tar Anaton makes a beautiful move on Moise Mushafa. Can't make it stick, decides to back off through turn 1. Very difficult corner turn 1, because it's basically flat in these cars, and Moise Mushafa knows exactly what he's doing in his orange number 13. So wise of Tar to take a safer approach as they come down through turn 2 now. You can see the orange or blue cars in the blue. That's Thailand's native son, Tar. Blue number 77 trying to make a move around the inside at turn 13. He's going to get the better exit, perhaps. Not quite. Looks like Muiz has a better exit, carries more speed through the corner, and is going to nurse that car home to a safe 7th position. Is Muiz. Unfortunately, we saw him drive beautifully at the beginning of the race, but an instant at turn 3 caused some damage. So I'm sure he's just not pushing too hard, doesn't want to damage anything that may be a little bit loose because of the collision. Better to be safe and secure the points that he can while making his way home. Once again here in Thailand, though, it's Luca Allen, the front of the grid, taking the checkered flag, followed by Josh Smith and Elias Sabanin in 3rd position, while Alistair Young makes it 4th for Malaysia, and Yash Ardia secures the top 5th position for India. Beautiful driving all around, with Shihab Al-Habsi trying to find his way back, but not quite enough. Not quite enough from Shihab. Really, I don't know what to say about young Shihab. He had a fantastic race. Just in the last lap, it all went wrong for him, or in the second last lap, it all went wrong for him, and there just wasn't enough time for him to make up for it. In any case, fantastic race, like every race so far here in the Buriram United International Circuit this weekend. I enjoyed watching them very much, and I hope you did as well. Fantastic racing action for 1st position, and fantastic racing action for 3rd position. A little bit of a repeat, if we're honest, of what happened in the first race with the battle between Luca Allen and Shihab Al-Habsi. Unfortunate news for Shihab, but exactly what Luca wanted with this 2nd race win. It's going to be difficult because Josh has 3 seconds and a first, and Luca has 2 firsts and DNF, so I'm not sure which way it's going to go for the event championship, but tune in very soon to have a look at that while we quickly have a highlight of the race. Here's the incident between Ali Akabi, Muiz Mushafir, and Yash Ardia as well. Yash under significant damage, still managed to find his way past Alistair Young at one point, who then reclaimed the position later on in the race. Fantastic battling between everyone, really. Let's have a look at the lap times once again. We're doing a 1:44.3 for Luke Allen, 1:44.5 for Josh Smith, 1:44.5 for Elias Safanin, 1:44.2 for Shihab Al-Habsi. You know, these guys are just so close together, and it's fantastic to see. Really, this whole weekend, the top 5 cars, top 6 cars at some point. You've got Luke Allen, Josh Smith, Elias Safanin, Muiz Mushafir, and Alistair Young. Really driving fantastically, great to watch. Shihab Al-Habsi, of course, just blowing the crowd away this weekend as well. And there's the overtake between Yash and Alistair, and maybe in a second we'll see what happened, how Alistair took it back, perhaps the last corner. I'm not sure, I didn't quite catch it. But Josh Smith there, defending from Elias Sapanin as he did almost the whole lap. And this is what happened to young Shihab Al-Habsi. He lost it on the exit of turn 5. Luckily, everybody managed to avoid him. And here's Muiz Mushafir defending from Tar, who drove really well this weekend, considering it's his first event here in the Formula 4 cars. Only he's really getting faster every session. 7/10 off of Alistair Young this time around. So good driving for him, and really good driving for everyone. Now down into the pit lane, where while we wait for the race results, the official race results, we know that there's been some penalties. There might be some more. And while we wait for that, let's see what all the F4 crew are up to. I'm sure they're already making sure all the cars are okay, celebrating with their drivers or consoling them as it needs be. There's Sandy Stuvik on shaking Josh Smith's hand. Sandy, of course, our driver coach, a fantastic driver himself, some experience in these F4 cars, and really knows how to talk to these young drivers and tell them exactly what they need to do to improve. But let's have a run through the race results now. We've got Luca Allen in first position, followed by Josh Smith and Elias Sapanin. That's your top 3. Then Alistair Young and Yash round out the top 5 before Shihab Al-Habsi, the tragic story this weekend, just losing out on second position and almost getting first again in this race. Muiz Mushafir makes it 7th after an unfortunate incident at the third corner on the first lap, while Tar joins us in 8th battling with Muiz towards the end of the race, and Sneha Sharma and Ali Akabi bring up the rear. Unfortunately, Ali wasn't able to finish the race after that incident at turn 3. Nonetheless, it was a fantastic session, great racing, a full 20-minute sprint to the checkered flag, as we always do. So really, from me, Aaron Thompson, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time in India in 3 weeks' time.
ณขณะนี้นะครับในเรื่องของการแข่งขัน Formula 4 นะครับก็เสร็จลงไปอีก1เลสนะครับสำหรับเลสที่3